In a world of glitz and glam, flashing lights and screaming fans, most people are unaware of the war that rages behind the scenes. And that war includes your favorite artist and your favorite songs. This is The Dark Side of Songwriting. Hosted by Nayim Edwards.
Welcome to The Dark Side of Songwriting. My name is Nayim Edwards. I am your host, and today let's address this elephant in the room that is the trajectory of Cardi B. It is not going to work the way she wants it to work. It's not working the way she wants it to work. It hasn't been for the past few years, and it's definitely not going to go the way that the label wants it to go. I don't even know why they even thought they knew what they were doing, but I'm going to start by asking you a question. My question for you right now is, when I ask you, what is nature? What comes to mind? Now, the average person would say organic, natural, from the earth, green. Like, these are the things that people would think of when they hear the word nature, or you say, what is nature? That's something that would come off the top of their head. The problem with that, though, is it's right, but it's not the full spectrum of what nature is. Nature is an organism that is part of a more vast and more complex environment. And that environment exists in an ecosystem of other environments. How do we know that nature is not just natural, green, from the earth, organic? It's because chaos exists in nature. Inorganic compounds exist in nature. When you put certain things together, they create new things that cannot exist on their own in nature, or cannot exist without other things latching with them in order to exist. This is the simplest way I can explain that without going too deep in it. You have to look at a music career as an organism within an ecosystem, because that's exactly what it is. I came out a long time ago and I said that Cardi B introduced something new into the mainstream ecosystem and environment that we hadn't really ever blatantly seen, because a lot of stuff just existed behind the scenes. A lot of things were able to go on that people didn't really know anything about, and there was no need for it to come out in the public because people just kind of ate whatever they wanted to. But also with the inorganic plants, for a different word if you need a music term, when we had people that were planted, because everybody's planted for the most part, I'll say 90% are planted. We had people going in and tweaking the ecosystem and creating the conditions that allow people to go and grow and thrive, but they still had to have this element of organic to them. Like, for example, when Nicki Minaj signed with Cash Money, she still had to be outside. She still had to go touch people. She still had to go talk to people, but she had the machine already in place, already having a roster of people who were already successful to lean on. An even better example is Quality Control Music. Quality Control started with, the Migos, and I'm talking about their biggest successful act at that time. They started with the Migos already having success and already having the foundation. When they got Lil Baby, it was easy to get Lil Baby to come out here and be good and go, and everybody like and accept him, because the ecosystem he was placed in as the organism was already built up. The environment was already there. All he had to do was show up and be a voice. This is how it works with everyone's career. But what Cardi B brought into this was, she came as and it was really K Michelle who came as the personality, but K Michelle was talented. The record label plucked a person from a different environment and dropped them into another environment because of their opportunistic ways. Cardi B was plucked off social media And we all know, if you don't know, you're about to find out, she was supposed to be the person to knock Nicki Minaj off the throne because nobody else was able to profit off of having a female rapper except for Birdman and Universal. So Cardi B was supposed to be the person who was plucked from obscurity, 100% given a career, 100% given everything that she needed to succeed without having to go through the notions that a regular person would. And we're gonna get into what you know what I'm saying, but we're gonna get into that more in depth in a second. The thing was, with her being in a situation where she is plucked from one environment, i.e., the strip club and social media, she's being plucked from there and dropped into another environment, which is music. All of these things exist in the same ecosystem, but they're two different worlds. This is why you have genres where somebody can be famous and rich in this genre, you've never heard of them. They're in their own world, doing their own thing. They don't have y'all wouldn't be crossing paths. What the internet did was made everybody cross paths and everybody know who everybody is. And because they've been on this steady campaign for 40 years to destroy and weaken the music business and destroy and weaken the music culture, where we can just pluck somebody from obscurity, make as much money as we can, and get rid of them. We are in these situations now where people are being plucked from obscurity, dropped off, the money's been made, and they don't know where to go, but they know they want to keep going. Cardi B was never gonna go as far as everybody made it seem like she could go. The thing with a person who's not an artist, and if you're an artist of any kind or any caliber, you know exactly what I'm about to say. And if you don't know, just listen. You know exactly where this is going. When you are an artist, you have this thing inside of you, especially musicians. You have this thing inside of you that even if life happens to you, even if things happen and you get blocked or you get put into these situations where it's not coming out how you wanted to come out, right? You never lose your ability to be able to recreate yourself, redo things. I like to use the example of like how people talk about pop and R&B and all these genres as eras. You never stop having eras. You never stop having those moments of times that you can exploit and put out as creative moments for you and the people who support you. Cardi B never had that. Cardi B will never experience what it is like to like give you a Jay-Z blueprint. The reason people love that Jay-Z blueprint so much, whether you like him or not, because they like him and they love him for that, because that was that moment in time for Jay-Z where it's like, I finally made it. This is what I've been through. This is my life story. This is the stories that I'm telling you from where I came from. And he always kept going and kept growing and kept evolving. That's a better word. It's always going to be evolution when it comes to a creative. If you are a creative, all you know how to do is create. All you know how to do is come up with new things. You might be in the mood for this one day and you might sit down and have a whole campaign behind that thing, and then you move on to the next thing, and then you move on to the next, and you just continue to just go from thing to thing, or you go from thing to thing, but you got that one thing that's going to keep going with you all the time as you keep going. That is a natural part of being a creative. That is a natural part of being a musician. That is a natural part of being an artist. That is a natural part of going through your journey of self-expression. The first thing, because I'm thinking about it's a lot of things that went wrong with how they put Cardi B out here. In regards to that, why Cardi B will never have that is because, one, she's not creative. Just because you can mimic and parrot what somebody tells you, that's not a personable thing. We always talk about how the reason that rap is the number one genre on this planet is because we are able to actually see what people go through. We're actually able to see where these people come from, We have real stories and real accounts that we can follow in real time, really, from before they get famous to when they get famous, to a lot of them until they hit the grave. So it's always from that first person point of view when it's this type of music and what this is supposed to be. Now, we might have lost our way, but a lot of people still make music from that perspective. This is how I feel about this. There is space for being creative. There is space for working with other people. Yeah, I write for other people, and I've actually been a part of writing for other people from perspectives that are not real, just out of thin air. I'm on a soundtrack pretending, or not pretending, but well, pretending because vampires are not real, but I'm on a soundtrack writing from the perspective of a vampire. No, I'm not going to come up and bite your neck, but that's where I go to get into my creative bag. I don't get into my creative bag getting on my songs lying about what I do in my life and lying about who I am and lying about my lifestyle, because I don't have to do that. I can rap from my personal perspective, or write or whatever I'm doing from my personal perspective for me. And as a writer, I can go and write from your perspective for you. The problem with that for you is it's never going to connect with people how it would connect if I was putting mine out and I was connected with my people, because no matter what a person writes for you or what's being said or what's being expressed, it's not from you. As harsh as it sounds, it's not you. It's someone else. So Cardi B not being creative, and yeah, you can sit down with me and you can talk with me and I can write you this and I can make it look as real as it comes out here. I got a whole industry plant formula I've been working on that I'm ready to get out here and experiment on somebody with. And I've been a part of industry plant situations. Of course I have. Like, still getting paid from those to this day. But at the end of the day, you have to go home knowing that your creativity and your limitation only goes as far as what people are giving you. My creativity is unlimited because I'm the creator. I can just continue. All I have to do is just keep creating and keep creating. It won't matter if you like it or other people like it, which leads me into the second thing of she's never going to be satisfied because she's not creative. It's never going to be something you can feel good about, because there's this thing of, people like to say the journey is everything and focus on the journey. That's because as a creative, you don't want to get so stuck on the end goal that you don't take time and realize the steps as you're going through what you're creating, what you're doing for yourself, even what you do for other people. Because you still, as a creator, you get that satisfaction from working on other people's stuff and seeing that final product. The final product is the trophy. I really was able to go through this whole thing step by step, break it down, not brick by brick, because I can give you a story to regurgitate about breaking something down brick by brick, but I can come down to proton, neutron, electron and go all the way to the bare elements of how this thing came together, because I am the creator. You don't know what that's like, because you might have shot some ideas out there, but you didn't come up with it. It's like when you have your first child, you brought that life to this planet. A person who doesn't have a child will not know what it is like to give life to a child. A person who's never given life, created, gold from oxygen, they're not going to understand what it is like to be in that position, no matter how helpful they can be to you, no matter what they can say to you, no matter what the situation can be. It's just not going to be the same type of fulfillment. So I saw that she's one of the highest selling female artists. She done sold 100 million all over the planet. That's a very good feat and statistic, but it doesn't matter if you're not being fulfilled in what you're doing, which falls us into that. So you're not creative, you're not happy because you're not creative, and you don't do anything in yourself, and you're just parroting and mimicking and being a copycat. None of your accolades are going to matter, because you did not, you might have been a part of the team, but you're not the essential part of the team because there's nothing that makes you special. This sounds so messed up, but it's true. There's nothing about what you do that is special. We could go to any strip club in any city in America or on this planet and make another you. The person, there's a lot of different type of writers, but the person party or the people that are writing your music, they can continue to go and go and go and go and go and do the same thing that it did for you for someone else. There's nothing there that makes you unique. There's nothing there that makes it like we just got to have what she has to have. And swinging this back around to she came in this special time, it's just she really came in this time where people stopped caring about music. People care more about your personality and what you put on your Instagram page and what was on your mind and all that stuff. And that's just the natural order of the evolution of the music business. But at the end of the day, they're always going to go back to the natural part of this, which is people like what your music does, people like your music, which trickles down to all these other things that have this influence. This is why people like Rihanna don't care about making music. You're not a part of the process for real. You're mimicking your caricature of what the idea of you is, you know? So this was not gonna work on now this, because obviously this was just a thing about making money and taking someone out. It's cool that you got it, but it's nothing about you that is gonna be significant enough to sustain after all of that has worn off. And this is where we are at right now with the music, where all of the, people have taken their rose colored glasses off. You can't make a song right now. This is why you've only done one album in 6 years. You want to change where you're going. The label doesn't want to change where you're going, but you don't have a say because you're not creative enough to say, I can do something different. This is why you put out whatever this last song was, and now you got a song with Shakira trying to pivot and go to another lane, which, you was already doing that with that song with Bad Bunny and Anuel on their last album, but you're not in the driver's seat. And even more crazy than you're not in the driver's seat, you're in a situation where you want to be able to evolve, but where do you evolve to when everything was given to you? Where do you evolve to where your voice is not even your voice? There's nowhere for you to go.